Hey everyone, Tony here. Hope you're doing well. Hope your weekend is going well. It's Sunday, October 14th. I want to talk a bit about Ripple and President Trump, as well as the Federal Reserve. Now, as you guys know, I don't like to over speculate. I like to look at facts, have some level of facts or statement to talk a bit about the potential of what Ripple XRP could be adopted within, right? As far as ecosystems and marketplaces and so forth. Now, we know that Ripple has been lobbying politicians and they've been doing a lot of work trying to market Ripple as a company, doing a lot of donations to charity. And as I mentioned, just a lot of their work has been focused on working with regulators, right? From a very long time, they have been working very closely. They have a lot of the former SEC people at their disposal. They have guys like Ryan Zagone going out there being the liaison from a political perspective. Well, Ripple's Corey Johnson, as you guys know, Corey Johnson, part of Ripple, he was once at Bloomberg TV, and he was interviewed by Breaker Mag, and here's the title of the article: Ripple has a ton of doubters. The exec is trying to change their minds. Now, this is an interview here, and I'm going to leave a link to this article here so you can read through all the respective questions and answers. So as you can see, a lot of questions and then answers. And the question of how does President Clinton actually know about crypto? And then it goes into, do you have any sense of what the Trump administration thinks about a product like Ripple, et cetera, right? So it goes into talking about as the White House or the president's current sitting president, which is Trump. And by the way, this is not a political video. This is not about Trump or whoever, Clinton. It's not about right wing or left wing, whatever. The point of us chatting here is about crypto and adoption and how we can make money. So I'm not getting involved in politics. A lot of people do. That's not what we're about here. So the Daily Huddle did a summary of this article, right? They reference all the respective information and they put together a summary of it. So I want to read it to you guys and, of course, read between the lines and let's talk about the facts. So the Daily Huddle's headline here is Ripple reveals XRP discussions with the Trump administration, says White House is focused on crypto. Now, we know that the U.S. government and many governments around the world are focused on crypto, what to do, how to regulate it, blah, 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 blah. We know about this. We know that the CFTC, which is a branch of the U.S. government or a facet of it, has come out and said that virtual currencies are a commodity. We're waiting for the SEC to provide further clarity. They have already said that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities. We're waiting on a Bitcoin ETF decision from them. So here, just once again, I want to set the foundation so you have these things in mind. In a new interview, Ripple's chief marketing strategist, Corey Johnson, says Ripple has discussed XRP with the Trump administration. In response to a question about the administration's take on Ripple, Johnson told Breaker the White House is doing an impressive amount of research on crypto at large. He says, I quote, "There's clearly a lot of homework going on. The White House in particular seems to be thinking about what it means to have 80% of Bitcoin," listen to this, mining taking place in China and the majority of Ether mining taking place in China as well. So that is definitely a concern, right? If you think about the real world facts of Trump currently has a trade war with China. We borrow a lot of money from China, and the fact that Bitcoin and Ethereum are largely controlled by China because of the mining and the hash rate, which is what a lot of people talk about. How can you say Bitcoin is fully decentralized when a certain group there in China control it, right? So that presents a problem because the U.S. government absolutely, it looks like they are behind crypto, but there's a lot of nuances here and potential problems that if they were to put resources behind Bitcoin or Ethereum or so forth, they could put themselves at risk because it's controlled by China. And right now we're butting heads with China. So you guys understand here the current political climate and how that's going to play a factor in this. And then continuing to quote, when you look at XRP, there's no mining, so from a foreign control aspect or from an experimental aspect, XRP is a very different beast. And in conversations we've had with the administration, they seem to get that and think that might matter. Of course, because logic would tell you that if we're butting heads with China right now on trade wars and so forth, and a lot of its control, if the US government was to put significant resources behind, let's say Bitcoin in particular, or Ethereum, they could set themselves up for failure because China, like I said, because they're butting heads, could look to sabotage that. Countries have their, things going on, obviously, and we know about the trade war, right? So this is very interesting. Now, let me continue. Let me read further, and I'll share some more information with you guys. As for Ripple's contacts in the administration and how high up discussions have climbed, Johnson declined to reveal exactly which officials the company has engaged with. And let's see here. He says, we're in regular talks throughout Washington, and we meet with regulators as well as politicians. Keep that in mind. We've got a whole team that's devoted to that, not just in the US, but worldwide. Our regulatory team, they jump on planes like their pants are on fire. We've seen this in India, in the Middle East, in different countries, Japan, and so forth. Ripple is doing a great job there. As whether the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission will decide to classify XRP as a security, Johnson says judgment day may never come at all. I think the question I get all the time is, when is the SEC going to say something about XRP? And I think it's possible the answer is never. The reason being, Ripple, they may not need to, given that Ripple is a company. But there's some nuances there that I personally don't understand, how they would never. But my guess is the fact that they're a company and they're so connected to politicians and so forth now. He says, I don't know what the SEC wants to be in. I don't know that the SEC wants to be in a position to have to comment on every single cryptocurrency or digital asset created and issue a ruling about it. I don't know if they like what they did with Bitcoin and Ether. That's interesting. I would guess that an administration's agency doesn't want to take on regulating an entirely new part of the world when no one's asked them to do it and no one's going to raise their budget for doing it. That is very interesting. If you understand politics and government, SEC has their budget. It will take a lot of time to go through all 2,400, 2,500 coins on the market, right? He's saying it could possibly happen or it could never happen, but we have to see how it all unfolds. So once again, Ripple is really deep in the government now, trying to win as many politicians over. And let me share some facts. Remember, we talked about the SAIV, the Securing America's Internet of Value Coalition. The group includes, apart from Ripple, RippleWorks Foundation, Coil, a company developing digital payments, Hard Yaka, an investment firm focusing on digital assets, and Polysign, a company seeking to be a crypto custodian. So Ripple's part of an advocacy group, and they're actually going to be paying lobbyists in XRP. So that is one other fact, right? The next fact, if you recall from last year, the Federal Reserve endorsed Ripple, says it improves speed and transparency of global payments. Let me give you the quote here. This is on Ripple's website. This is old news, by the way, right? We've covered this before. The McKinsey assessment gave high remarks to Ripple, noting Ripple enables financial institutions the ability to operate cross-border payments faster than the 2 to 4 days common today, via XRapid, of course. The solution bolsters the certainty of cross-border payment experience by providing end-to-end transaction visibility to banks as well as settlement confirmation. Ripple enables more transparency in the total cost of payment to the payee prior to authorization, if the participating banks are willing to provide this transparency. Now, that's the other fact, right? And then, of course, you have Ryan Zagone, who it was reported he's going to join the Federal Reserve's Faster Payments Task Force Steering Committee. This was reported earlier in June 2018. So do you see what's happening? Ripple, man, they're such smart and talented people there. I think they've done such a great job as a startup, making the right moves, positioning people in the right places, getting the right talent, doing great marketing, and of course, in the United States, any business, right? Your Facebook, your Googles, your Ubers, your whoever, Amazon, everybody has to lobby politicians. when politicians are raising money, everybody has to contribute if they want to get things moved in their way, laws and so forth. So Ripple's is part of the discussion within the White House with the Trump administration, the Federal Reserve, Faster Payment Task Force. They have the respective people. They have their coalition together. And now what's also happening, Trump may be looking to do something here with the Federal Reserve. And this article is from July. Trump poised to take control of the Federal Reserve. And just recently, he criticized them about raising interest rates and so forth because that affected the stock market and it looks like it's going to affect the economy. So do you see, once again, I'm sharing facts. I'm not pulling stuff out of the air here. These are all facts. That's why I'm showing you the sources, right? Ripple is positioning itself to work with the government. We don't know what's going to come out from that. But right now, if we connect the dots here with the Federal Reserve, Trump, the White House looking at crypto. Of course, they're looking at crypto. And what we're seeing with the CFTC and the SEC, could Ripple XRP be leveraged within the Federal Reserve for whatever it may be? Sure. We know the Federal Reserve is currently looking to improve fintech and make the movement of money faster and more efficient. And that is where Ripple comes into play. And also given the uncertainty or the risk, I should say, of Bitcoin and Ethereum being mined so heavily in China and control the hash rate, right? If we look at this logically and factually now, could the possibility, I'm not saying it's going to happen, the possibility of what we're seeing here, Ripple working with the Federal Reserve, and in possibly some other ways within the government, and XRP being part of that. And I'm basing all of this is originating from an employee at Ripple being interviewed. So I'm not speculating here, right? I'm not just pulling it out of the air. So I want you guys to think about that. And I think really, really big things are ahead for Ripple, guys. I being in the business world and seeing different businesses in different industries and verticals, they are making the right moves. And the government, we know, is on board with crypto, and Ripple is there lobbying the politicians, which you have to do, every company has to do. And I think it is the right move, guys. I think some big things. And once again, the way the economy is heading, and the Trump and the Federal Reserve now butting heads, and of course with China and the trade war and a lot of the mining taking place there, we could potentially see XRP being leveraged by the Federal Reserve. Now, once again, I'm doing a little bit of speculating off of the facts that I'm showing you here, right? I hope you see the bigger picture here. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but we're seeing some breadcrumbs here. And we've got some statements from Ripple's Corey Johnson. We got Ripple with the lobbying group giving XRP to lobbyists. The Federal Reserve has endorsed Ripple. Ripple's Ryan Zagone has joined the Federal Reserve's Faster Payments Task Force. So what do you think he's doing there? He's like, hey guys, the problem you have, we can solve that. And let me introduce you to our digital asset, our crypto, XRP. It's already pre-mined, no risk. We have already moved to decentralization, where we control less than 50% of the nodes, versus if you look at Bitcoin and how much hash rate is controlled, over 50% by the miners in China. Ethereum also on that boat. So, and Trump looking to revamp the Federal Reserve. And once again, this is not a political post. I don't care necessarily about Trump. I don't care about left or Democrat or Republican. I care about the asset I'm holding, that it gets adopted, real world utility, and it goes up in value so I can make my money. But of course, the fact that it will be leveraged because it's a superior technology will improve our lives and in commerce and people being able to transfer money. So there's definitely something I want to see happen so the world can progress. So our transactions, the way we do things can progress. So what do you guys think about this? I hope you understand what I'm saying here. I'm not giving certainties here. I'm giving when I say I'm not giving certainty, I'm giving my opinion on what I think could potentially happen with XRP and the Federal Reserve based on facts that we have here, right? From what Ripple's Corey Johnson said, the advocacy group that Ripple has going on, Federal Payments Task Force endorsing Ripple, Ryan Zagone joining it this year. And Trump, trade war with China, problems with the Federal Reserve right now. They may look to revamp, find a better solution. So some things are moving parts, money moving parts and components here, but they all point to a solution, potentially, Ripple XRP. So leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. And if there's something here you think I missed, I would love to hear your comments, guys. I keep holding on to your XRP. I'm telling you guys, something big is cooking up here. And there's so many use cases that XRP is going to have. And I think a lot of people are going to miss the boat here. They're still caught up in their religious feelings for Bitcoin and this coin and that coin. I hold Ripple XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Sia Coin, Propi, Stellar Lumens, Nano, Sia Coin. I think I mentioned that already. And some others, guys, 10x. So I'm looking to make money. I absolutely believe crypto will change the world. Blockchain will change the world as well. And we just got to be patient. So I'll talk to you guys later.